Hello everyone, so this is going to be a very short video, basically showcasing the class tuning changes that were made yesterday. Everything pretty much across the board was buffed, including some hero talent percentage changes and pretty much quality of life changes. So Disintegrate was buffed by 10%, Fire Buff Damage was buffed by 10%, Azure Strike was buffed by 10%, Deep Breath was buffed by 10%, Rooted Embrace was increased by 20%, Living Flame Healing was increased by 30%, which I think this is probably the biggest change for us, considering that I don't remember what the talent is called off the top of my head, but the choice node that you have on the Devastation tree that allows us to have an additional 30% healing from our Living Flame. Paired with this should give us some really strong Living Flame single target healing, which I think actually was on purpose considering the tank nerfs that happened. Uh, Let's go to Augmentation. So Augmentation, Black Attunement increases maximum health for your 4 allies by 2% instead of 4. So with that, with Aspect's Favor, whenever you press Obsidian Scales, it'll only go up to 4% instead of 8%, so this is a really massive nerf. This was pretty much one of the biggest things that made Augmentation still viable in keys and generalized high content. This probably actually will push them out of the meta. Now, I don't think it'll make it so that like people will stop playing it, but it's obviously way less favorable. And then yeah, as I said, the aspect favor was decreased to 1% instead of 2. So Devastation. Eternity Surge was increased by 10%, Pyre 10%, Shattering Star 10%, Unravel 10%. Firestorm damage increased by 10%. The Firestorm damage, it's nice and all, but there's still really no viable way for us to actually take Firestorm for the simple fact that it's one of those spells that you really only get use out of it if stuff actually stays within the fire circle. And of course, you're always on the move. Obviously, your tank is always on the move, so it's not really good to use regardless. So even if its damage is increased by 10%, it's not really going to mean much. Unravel's nice. I probably would like to see this increased a little bit more, so probably up to like 25-30% or so. It's still a decently high cooldown for what it is, and obviously it's still RNG when it comes to it critting in general. So I would like to see this increase to 25-30%, or the crit strike chance on it to be increased drastically, so that it's actually useful. Cooldown on obviously doesn't need to be changed at all. Pretty much everything besides that. Let's go to hero talents. So Chrono Warden, echoes from Resonating Spear will no longer trigger or consume Golden Opportunity. I believe Golden Opportunity was the particular passive that you have where it'll echo uh, the amount of damage that is casted, I believe, on you and like others. So that's pretty cool. Flame Shaper, consume flame no longer double dips healing or damage mods. That's pretty nice quality change, I guess. Doesn't really do much though. And Gulf can now be stored in stasis. I think this is actually the biggest change, specifically for preservation, obviously. The fact that you can probably store both engulf charges and stasis, and the fact that uh, preservation is essentially a bursty class in terms of healing. This is going to be really massive. I think, I mean, I really don't know what preservation evokers were going to go before. I think they were still going to go Flame Shaper regardless. But I think now this is a guarantee for the simple fact of this. But I could be wrong. I don't really know. And then Traveling Flame will now prefer injured allies when seeking a new target for Dream Breath. Obviously just a nice quality of life change as well. Yep. Those are all of the evoker changes for now. Oh yeah, there's preservation. Let me read the preservation. I actually forgot about this. So Spirit Bloom healing increased by 20%. Really love this. I really love using Spirit Bloom. Reversion will now extend its duration by 30% when it is refreshed. I believe this is additive, so on top of the normal cooldown, it'll be 30% longer. I'm assuming that's what it means. Emerald Blossom and Echo casts will no longer consume Essence Burst when they are released from stasis. I didn't know this was a thing, but that is a very nice quality of life change. I actually enjoy. I like that. Alright, Lifeline will now trigger its healing from heals that are considered procs. Not good, like, basically another good quality of life change, and then Field of Dreams procs will no longer indirectly benefit from Titan's Gift. Uh, I could be wrong, but I think that's a nerf, isn't it? I have no idea. I don't remember what Titan's gift actually does. I believe it's within their normal tree. I have no idea. Obviously, you guys will probably know way more about me know way more than I do about preservation. I actually don't play preservation that much. So if it's good, obviously tell me and I'll know for future reference or, whatever. Yep, other than that, pretty much all the evoker changes. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed.